Shabbos, everyone. Hope you're doing well wherever you are. This week's parshiot are Acharei and Kedoshim, and there's a lot to talk about and a lot of different themes and a lot of different ideas, and I'm going to try to focus on mostly Kedoshim because I think it's the more interesting one, and the idea of holiness. So I thought it's really interesting. The parsha starts out by Hashem talking to Moshe and saying, Daber al kol edat b'nei Yisrael ve'amarta alehem kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokechem. So he's saying, speak to the whole Israelite community and say to them, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. So it's a pretty big ask at the beginning of the parsha, where Hashem's just telling Moshe, like, go tell everyone they're going to be holy just like me. And in general, asking people to be like God is a really big deal and is not the easiest thing to do. But what I think is more interesting is the juxtaposition of the next pasuk, which says, you shall each revere his mother and his father and keep my Sabbaths, I'm the Lord your God. So it goes straight into a very practical understanding and action of like what to do next. And I really like the way that the parsha starts to kind of formulate what holiness really is, where it doesn't really talk about anything spiritual or anything kind of mystical that we might think of when we think of holiness, but rather it's pretty much a laundry list of like, these are different mitzvot that you do. So whether it's honoring your mother and father, whether it's the way that you cut your beard, whether it's when you can eat your fruit, so all of those kind of tangible, mundane almost things that then are made holy because you're doing them through God. And I think it's really interesting the way that it relates all of the different ideas in your life as being holy, and it really talks about every single aspect of your life. So it's not only when you're giving sacrifices, although that's included, but it's also just like how you relate to other people and how you should treat each other, and all of those things can be seen as an aspect of what makes you and what makes the Jewish people holy. And it goes on to talk about kashrut and talk about kind of what to do with the tangible things that Hashem gives us and how to make those into something holy. And then it ends off with, you shall be holy to me, for I the Lord am holy, and I have set you apart from other people to be mine. And I think it's a really nice conclusion, especially from talking about kashrut, which is one of those things that doesn't really make sense. But Hashem is kind of finishing off with saying, like, I've set you apart, and this is like physically setting people apart because he's making them eat different foods, and he's making them have to say these blessings and sit apart from people and not eat with non-Jews. And that whole idea is you're setting them apart to be mine. I think that's part of what the holiness is. And to be truly holy, you have to kind of have this appreciation for and this understanding that like we want to be different in a sense, and we want to be able to relate to God in every single mundane thing we do, which if you ask the majority of people on the street, do you feel like you have holiness in your life? Most people will say no. And I think right now, especially because there's not much to really relate this to or think about in our current times except for the current like situation, that I think in this time we don't feel like it's a particularly holy time, especially when we're not able to come together and have davening and have a minyan and have any chagim without people around. But I know I still, when I get up in the morning and I'm able to daven and have something to do and have something to at least appreciate, I definitely feel a greater sense of holiness than I would if I wasn't someone who did that. And I think from these parshiot we can really just look at all of the almost tedious commandments that we need to go through in order to really be chosen by Hashem and feel the holiness and appreciate this blessing we have of having a real purpose and meaning in our lives.